already. Hello, whoever you are, welcome back. I've been aching to do this video. It's been really strange. I did say the 11th, and then, a few readings came through, and a lot has happened. Lots of us have been feeling some good, some bad. So we've been sort of feeling bits and bobs of both things, really. Lots of information has been coming through to me as well, and I have felt that energetically. There's been two waves of twins experiencing two very different dynamics. Look, some of you are very much on the 3D, sort of worrying too much about the karmics. You may not be communicating with your twin correctly, and this is really affecting you. So you need to somehow get yourself grounded. So I'm going to go into a few exercises as well through this reading. We're still going to do a reading. And energetically, I'm going to relay the information of what I've been receiving over the last, few weeks. Now, there's obviously the previous reading that I had up, and I was sort of umming and ahhing about when I was going to do the next one. Probably about 3 days ago, I do feel there was a shift, and I do feel a lot of us did feel it. Now, some of us have become very aloof. And look, a question was asked to me, how do I know what wave I am? It does not matter, because ultimately speaking, you could be so far ahead in a journey and then the block come up in a sense of a trigger, and you can bounce backwards and bounce forwards in 2.5. So don't get too caught up in your head who you are, where you are in the journey. The work you do very much does depend on your soul path of, where you're traveling, what's happening in your given situation, and what aspects you were supposed to learn to reach that point when you actually do, join your twin. Don't feel for a second that when you do actually reach that point of union, it's going to look traditional. Many of us are actually really forcing the point when it comes to the tag. Please don't do that, because that actually is the old 3D version of what it should be in your mindset, but it's directly connected to a block. Keep moving through the energy. That's my highest advice. Don't try and force a tag. Don't try and force conversations if they're not ready to, come through naturally. Be cautious in the way you handle the situation, but follow your intuition. Being twins, directly speaking, you're going to have a vibe. You know the person. You've known them from a previous life. You know them in the 3D here, even if you might not be in contact. So you need to use yourself as a channel in order to fine-tune it. Come to a place where you're receiving the messages, you're really following your instincts. And by all means, if you're coming to a place where you're not really sure, and many of us have very much questioned the energy around the actual journey, if in fact we are twins at all, please don't get up in your head about it. It's very natural. You can't get on. Don't get too up in your head about it. Because you're welcome to book a reading if you feel you need a little bit of guidance. I mean, at times you will be getting a direct reading. At other times, spiritually speaking, from my personal experience as being a twin, I can assist you and guide you through what I've learned for myself. And that's not to say, ultimately speaking, you have to know truthfully what you would feel comfortable with doing in order to kind of move yourself forward. Now, what have I been picking up? I've been picking up heaps, so I've had to write notes. A lot of us at the moment on the 3D are really getting worried. Thank you. Welcome back. Hi, Susie. Now, time is of the essence, I keep seeing. Everyone's really panicked about time. Now, time is a 3D thing. Your journey has the correct timing. Please don't question too much about time. Some twins are getting paranoid connected to fertility and timing and, oh gosh, my biological clock, situations like that. Again, it's 3D. Please actually trust in the process of your journey and know that nothing that is happening right now is, wrong timing. I know many people, who are much older that do conceive children. And really, again, doing the work and part of your life path, everything does happen for a reason, and please just very much trust in the process, because that does cause a trigger. Now, what triggers come up in you when certain situations play out? You need to pay attention to what the triggers are and maybe write them down. So try and look at it as you're at school and you're doing homework. I did speak to a lady who I'm very close to, and I've been working with her very closely, and she lives in Melbourne. So I won't say your name, but I'll say hello because we had the reading today. Now, homework sometimes for yourself can be very handy, and that's a way of looking at yourself. And look, this is for masculine or feminine, however you are. You're both going to receive masculine and feminine energy. So a lot of times when we're pointing the finger connected to something that's happening, what we're actually not realizing is we're pointing the finger at ourselves, because a trigger in our twin is what we do possess. So we mustn't come to a place where we're saying, oh, and I'll try and find an example. My twin has a block connected to codependency. Number one, where do we maybe have, and that's an addiction in ourselves, where we're trying to keep everything perfect and contained because on the 3D, the twin is supposed to look a certain way. The reality is 9 times out of 10, the more you try and take the reins, the more you're not learning the lessons in the situation. You need to trust in the process, and go with the flow with it. Do understand that every area of a block is going to be removed. It is very much a process, and it's not going to happen on your clock at your time frame, or in the way we actually do think it's going to come about. Now, the old saying of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is very relevant. All of us are wanting it on the 3D now. Now, like I said, do not think for a second that once you reach the union stage with your twin that there's going to be no work. There is definitely going to be work, and there's definitely going to be trigger points, because you can't automatically jump back in it and think that all those old things that you've been working on aren't going to be tried and tested. Because for me personally, I have found that every trigger connected to my twin flame journey has been healthily given to me in a dose of slap me in the face. But it's helped me purge that aspect. There's been painful times. There's been times where it's really drawn on me to gain complete maturity, but I do not expect of myself to be perfect, because I don't expect that of my twin. But also you might find that when you look at each other, the closer to a point where you're aligning correctly, you do take on each other's vibration more so. So that's be it you're together or not. So you may find communication starts coming in more so, and you're on each other's wavelength. Very much you'll come to a place when you're aligning where you're actually mirroring each other, so to speak, in many levels. That can be with your family. That can be with vibrational feelings connected to direct family members. Your family members will come up as well in a sense of a trigger directly connected to your union. Now, karmic is coming up as well. Now, we'll get back to karmic in a minute. Finger pointing. I've written that down because a lot of times we're actually looking and we're seeing what our twin needs to do. The way we need to perceive it is stop and listen to what we're saying, and maybe actually get a recorder. This could be something that you could do, and it could, you just use your phone, and speak out loud your truth connected to your feelings when you're really getting triggers. Because to go back and actually listen to it, hear the way in which you're speaking and feeling, because it's relevant, and it is about owning your feelings connected to it. But you'll be really surprised at what you're actually saying, because it's directly connected to a trigger. Now, I did give a lovely friend of mine who I give readings to, which I will mention. I won't mention your name, confidential. I've given her some homework, and this is good for the twins, masculine or feminine. Now, feminine, really, you guys need to come to a place where you're feeling hot. And when I'm saying that, a lot of times we give our power away because we're thinking we're replaceable. Ultimately speaking, we're our twin's mirror. And when I'm saying you need to feel hot, you've got to write down how to feel like a trophy, how to feel like you're worth everything that they know you are. Now, on one side, you write down what to you equals being like the prize. in your opinion, what makes you feel like a prize? Then on the other side, what makes you not feel like a prize? And funny enough, I've done this for myself because I always practice what I preach. And I found some interesting things about myself. Now, little things like, why doesn't my twin buy me a gift? Where does that directly come from? So I also wrote down, okay, gift. Well, to me, it's romantic, but I'm not one to like flowers. But there's been a trigger connected to that. Also, there's good and bad in that. So the gift factor is almost like they owe you. So again, that is a direct block. And it's not that we're not going to get back to the 3D of, living in that place. But when you do a bit of homework and you write down, what makes you feel special, do I actually need a present to feel special? No, because it's a vibration, it's a feeling. Obviously, to feel that they admire you. Well, if you admire yourself when they're with you, well, obviously they admire you. So sometimes, when you do this homework, you actually see your mindset, but to actually own your power, because you can't receive that from another person. Hello, Vicky. And don't worry about where they are, be it, in Australia, in USA, it's 3D. That's like, it can be moved. So stress less, connect to location. Location can make the heart grow fonder, and it doesn't matter where they are. Coming down to the feminine taking their power back, try not to come to a place where you're thinking you're replaceable. Sometimes when we're tapping into, what the karmic's doing and, is the karmic better than me and all that, don't do that. Because number one, you're giving your power away, and it's part of a journey. It's part of a process. It is not by any means a competition. Very much as you get into your energy and you own your power, if you're thinking and tuning too much into that situation, you're actually manifesting something, and it's a point of a trigger point. So you're actually morphing a situation outside of yourself where if you're fearing it, it will be co-created. And that's the power of manifestation. But they're also directly linked to a block. So when you get triggers come up like this, write them down during the week. If you're getting up in your head and you're actually thinking, is my twin seeing someone else? Is my twin ever going to come? Work out where it's coming from and where the link directly comes from. Also, what you will find is directly connected to your twin, they will remind you of someone in your family. Now, not all of us have a DNA family. Well, we do, but they may have passed on. But there would have been step-in, like, parents, so to speak, someone you considered kin. It doesn't have to be of a DNA relation. Now, you will find they will kind of be like someone who you have a direct connection with. Now, that's the power. That was where your training was. And there will be a trigger connected to that person where perhaps they didn't verbalize things as much. And they acted in a certain way. Now, you had training during that time to actually almost use telepathic communication connected to how to deal with that person. Whoever that person is in your family that is similar to your twin, they're your asset. Use that as a tool to try and look at it from an outside situation. So when you're getting up in your head and thinking, I really can't directly relate to my twin, they don't communicate, they're not big speakers, it does not mean they're not receiving what you're saying. It doesn't mean they're not listening. They very much absorb the information, take it away, and the more you don't pressure them to speak, as they're ready, they will communicate. The whole actions speak louder than words. You will find you're getting too up in your heads connected to how it's supposed to look. Both of you are like yin and yang, and it's perfect balance. If you were exactly the same and it was free flowing, you would grab no learnings out of the situation. So it is to a benefit, and it does bond you further, because you will have times where your communication will be physically visual. You'll look at each other and you'll know what each other are thinking. So when you're trying to rip it back to the 3D of what traditional relationships are, you didn't want that anyway, and you didn't come here to do that. It will sink into, a kind of, how can I put it? You will get that communication factor going, but don't force that in a sense that it has to look a certain way, because it's part of the challenge inside you to actually grow beyond that. It's unconditional love, so to speak. So I do find time is very much coming up as a trigger. Also, you know, the biological clock or time, or, you know, wanting to co-create a beautiful future together and feeling time is running out. Really, some of us are very much, you know, almost having a brat attack and saying, I want it now, but not realizing that there is a divine timing to it. I myself, even though I am in communication, very much do look at my given situation, and I'm very glad I've paced myself connected to it, because I do want the situation to be to a point where I have purged those aspects and not taken it straight in. And I think if I had just jumped right in, it would not have benefited my situation, the external parties, you know, child, etc. There's a process to it, and sometimes definitely with wounded souls, even though you've done the work externally, jumping in the deep end and you know, really hoping that everything's going to be a bed of roses and perfect is really very naive in some sense. You do need to follow your gut connected to it, and just know that anytime you're having a part is a process for you to heal, and be very giving and understanding and compassionate towards yourself, because it's your whole childhood you're healing. It's the 3D of external experiences, previous relationships. It's a whole lot of baggage you're physically carrying with you. And if you were to jump right in, you would be going in very fretful, feeling that maybe you weren't safe. So you will find, if you pace yourself connected to your journey and be compassionate towards yourself, you're going to find that you're going to feel safe. There are times you're going to feel very panicked, and a lot of energy is being sort of going towards an external situation. So those of you whose twin is actually, you know, with a karmic, and you're actually tapping into that energy, you need to tune out of that, because, you know, it is a process, as I said. And if you give too much energy, it's an aspect of a block you directly have. So deal with that and try and tune out and focus the energy back on yourself, your career, your hopes and dreams. And you're going to find your life is going to feel very balanced and controlled. And it's definitely going to give you your power back. And don't get paranoid connected to the breaking, you know, of the connection between you and your twin. What else have I been picking up? Okay, I do very much feel that many of you have blocks connected to past tense scenarios, connected to a karmic, connected to movement forward. So some of you on the 3D who are working together, it could be external situations connected to children, connected to exes, and you're getting too up in your head about it. There is a process to it, and you're going to need to be patient with that cycle. The masculine definitely is stepping into their energy, but they're being very, I see very much a left, right connected to what they're wanting to jump into. So yeah, it's strange. There's very much a left and right connected to what they're wanting to do. I do feel some of them are actually wanting to jump in with the twin, but they're not quite knowing how it's going to look. They don't want to jump in too quickly. You can almost sense that something in them is changing. And definitely for those of you who is, you know, you're coming to a place where you're wanting to communicate, follow your gut connected to it. But, you know, just be super careful about it. Interesting name. Okay, so anyway, some of you are, if you get a vibe where you're wanting to actually directly communicate with your twin, follow your gut connected to it. But I do feel the masculine is very much coming to a place where they're wanting to make a major decision, but they're almost trying to fix a past tense situation that they're thinking is a mistake or their sense of responsibility, and they're trying to be very careful about how they're dealing with it. And they're also, many of them are dealing with past tense hurt, and just testing the waters quite gradually. So you might find suddenly your twins coming in and then they're retreating. Now, the way I explained it to my dear friend who I give readings to is, sometimes it triggers our energy because we're thinking, hang on a minute, our twin's hot, cold, hot, cold. Look at it this way. Go with a vibration. So go with your vibe, go with your feeling. Picture your twin moving towards you, and there's a lake and there's fire in it. There's pebbles in this lake. Now they're testing the pebble as they're sensing when it's safe to move forward. As they move forward, when they find a hot pebble, that's when a trigger comes up in us. The trigger will directly link to them as well. They will retreat back, and that's only natural. So as you don't try and push the point connected to when's it going to happen, are we coupled, are you going to marry me, are we going to have kids, just go on the vibe. You don't want, it's not going to be a Cinderella story, but it is better than a Cinderella story because you weren't meant for a Cinderella story. It is a very interesting connection where it is unconditional love, and what you're experiencing is challenging, but it doesn't kind of dilute the energy between the both of you. So try and practice, think connected to how you would want to be treated. Even if there has been past tense hurts, you're physically not ready. You need to actually heal, and they need to heal before this can go back to, kind of the plate to be dealt with. If you've done work and you feel open to it, I do know personally for myself, I did very much come to a place where I thought, back many moons ago, when the hurt was there, gosh, I can't accept that unless it looks a particular way. As time progressed, I very much came to a place where I realized whatever it was, I was accepting of it, because be it I was there or be it I wasn't, the connection and the feeling was still there. So that's when you're ready to do the work. You will find many of you who are ready for that do come to a place where you feel, I'm really not worried. When it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And that's very much when it's very close. You will find, and it's a death of an ego. So a lot of you will go to the dark night of the soul where that's deep depression, basically. And a lot of purging, a lot of, actually going over old ground. Now, this will happen several times. It's not going to happen overnight. The death of the ego actually has been coming up from the masculine as well. They've very much been punishing themselves. It's a bit like on the 3D of when you have the flu. You only require the essentials. So, you need rest, you need time, fluids, and divine timing, so to speak. So it's similar to that. And then you're not controlling the aspect because you don't have control. We don't have control over that process. So the way you deal with it is, when the ego dies, you're more ready to just go with flow. And again, I do have a lady that I did a reading for, and she's on the other side of things, which is what I did go through, where it was almost this very calm, dead, peaceful feeling where, yes, it does let you book personal readings. It was down the other day. That was because I was editing it. Sorry. So thank you for the heads up about that. I had to log out and log back in. So when the ego is kind of being knocked and it's gone, it's never going to go. It's going to come back and forward. But, when a trigger is coming up and it's been purged, so to speak, what you'll find is your energy frequency will change. Now, that's when your twin's going to start moving towards you, because energetically you're on a better frequency. Now, I do know for me personally, when my life was all together and I was just going, you know what, I'm not even thinking about it, I'm getting on with my life, things would happen, very ironically, in the most strangest places, and things happen. So www.yildersreadings.com. I'll put it directly below after. So with the ego, I'm feeling the masculine is going through that energy at the moment where they're testing the waters. Many of them are coming to a place where they're wanting to move forward, but they're gauging the vibe. Most welcome. So they're not wanting to, they're not wanting to hurt you. They're not wanting to hurt themselves. You are them. They are you. So be kind to yourselves and just know all of us want to be feeling safe in this connection. Both of us have hurt each other. We're completely human, and try as much as you can to go with the flow. When you're up in your head and you're in panic state, I do emergency readings. There is hello, Jan. I do, there's a time frame on the website. So many times when you go to it, what you'll find is, I think there's about 12 hours. When the kids are back at school, I'll change that time frame. And when I'm home, I'll be able to bring it right back and then change it in the evening. And that's so I can have warning. Most of you won't need to really give me information till the day. So I will be changing that. I mean, you're most welcome to. 9 times out of 10, I'll look at the website more than I actually do, my emails. But I do look back in the emails more so. Anyway, I'll go into details at the end of that. I'll go back to the reading. The masculine at the moment, emotionally speaking, is actually doing a lot of groundwork. So they're getting guidance. They're actually following their intuition connected to what they're needing to do. They're feeling a little bit safer, but as you retreat back to let them do the work, they're able to have the clarity. If you're riding their back, they're not going to be able to. Ground yourself and don't get panicked for those of you who are in that vibration. And it can be of any sex. I mean, masculine, feminine energy, we're going to receive both of it. I very much went through a stage where I was more the masculine energy in a sense because I was on protective mode. I had to fall into that power and provide for myself, provide for my daughter, almost like a hard shell being formed, so no one can hurt me, so to speak. And there were situations I had to go through and actually learn that I did not need another to define me, and that has taken many years. Many of you might do this very early on in the piece. That was my road personally, so it has for me taken a long time, but depending on the age of your soul, sometimes you will go through hard lessons. Now, the guidance you will find will be relevant to masculine and feminine. Follow your compass. This is your story. This is your road. How it goes for you, there is no time in it. You're having an awakening as well. That's very true. You do need to love yourself and before you can love another, but we're not perfect. So, many times I had people say that. And you will go through massive growth connected to that because you can't just say I'm in that peaceful place and I do love myself. I mean, I do love myself, but there's many blocks connected to that where trigger points do come from. And that can be from your childhood, you have triggers. That can be from your workplace, you have triggers. And coming to a perfect, peaceful place is near on not going to be possible because we are human after all. And we do need to get to the 3D and not always be 5D. Now, as we become more balanced, we're going to have the perfect world, and it's not a perfect world. I mean, we're full of shit there. I mean, it's you're going to have your ability to tap into your spiritual sense. That's going to help you come back down and become grounded. And your other sense where you can co-create things in this lifetime. You can have, your bed of roses of what you're wanting with your twin and the road that you two are going to walk. So it will be the blessing of both worlds, so to speak. But you can't be all up in the 5D. You can't be all down in the 3D either. So, at times you're going to feel like a yo-yo. Now, communication, movement. This can be text messages. This can be the way in which you communicate. It's going to open up. It can be some harsh words for some of us. But remember, any of these twin flame videos that you watch on YouTube, don't get up in your head about them. It is a singular energy. It is that given point in time. Now, when I say that, the videos I do are very different. And that's because I'm coming from my place of experience as a twin, as well as trying to give you practical information that you can physically work on. As masculine. Yeah, so we'll jump back to masculine and feminine. So we are both. And the masculine really of late, and this could have been over the last 3 years really, many of them had become stuck in some shape or form where, deemed as the runners, they may have actually been fancy free and had a sense of more freedom and then suddenly got stuck in some shape or form. This could be due to financial reasons or in a karmic relationship or connected to children. Some sense of a stop where they had to then emotionally purge aspects. And this could be that suddenly they were forced to stop where they were looking more at the 3D of what they needed to do and sensing things as the feminine and feeling vulnerable at times. And both of us will very much flick between the two. And it's so we can have basically the perspective of each, so we can have that compassion connected to both sides of the story and not come in like we want to grab each other's throats. Because ultimately, some of the hurts that we've experienced in a twin flame connection can be really harsh. I mean, there could be, alcohol, cheating, abuse, deceit, but they all stem from a past tense situation, not directly us. So the more we can form forgiveness for ourselves, and balance that karma of energy and try and come to that peaceful place and start doing the work, we can then get back to business, and move forward and just have that sense of calm, forgiveness, and taking it for now, how it is. Very much you will feel at some point that your twin has died, although not a physical death. More in a sense, you might not sense their vibration. And when this happens, it's because we're evolving. Definitely some twins have been sensing, having a bit of sickness in the throat chakra, chest infections, headaches. Again, it is purging and it's realigning and getting us ready for a different phase. I do feel February is extremely important. That a lot is going to change and a lot of clarity is going to be coming in February in some shape or form. Twins in general. Look, some people's twin has passed over. So again, private reading. And I do have a friend who is a twin and her twin has passed over. Her soul path means she is still with a soulmate. They are physically very similar in nature. That's probably my twin. You're going to have to wait. If my girlfriend Antonella's watching, she's probably really laughing at me. So you can actually have a twin sort of on the other side, and I can go into that, in a personal reading and explain why. Don't laugh at me, Antonella. Explain why and, what your work's going to be. You would have chosen this. And what you'll find is if you do have a twin who's on the other side who has passed over, they're guiding you on a journey, and you will find that the longer you go down the path in this journey, you may actually start visually seeing them, where they guide you in, through telepathy, dreams, songs, even again, actually be a visual where you can see them. I know probably in the last month, my gift has very much changed, and you'll find as a twin on the 3D, you will change. The things that you kind of sense and feel will grow, but that really depends on the work you're doing, and how in tune you are to what's going on around you. Recently, mine has changed where I was asleep one night, and this was out of left field for me. I'm a visual, so when I'm tuning into you, it's my third eye. So it's like a past tense event that I physically see in my mind's eye, and I can explain to you the detail of perhaps the way a person looks, the way a person acts, the sarcasm or comical side of them, maybe something they would have liked to eat and things like that. So I can tap into future, but it's almost like in my mind's eye, it's a previous event. But recently I had closed my eyes, I wasn't asleep, and I started hearing fire brigades. And when I closed my eyes, I could see the actual fire brigade, a lady screaming, and I was trying to pick what country it was in. And I had written a few of my premonitions on my Facebook page, and that was one of a cyclone in Port Hedland, and another one in Queensland. It was around that time I'd actually started, having these visions again. And so I've seen this and I thought, do I write it on Facebook? I thought, no, don't. Let's just test the theory and see what's going on, because I could actually hear it and visually see it without being asleep. And my premonitions come to me during my sleep. So it was like a fire brigade, a house burning, trying to see the location. When I woke up in the morning, I checked the news and there was actually a fire. Yeah, and it was in Australia. So your gift will change. It will grow. The synchronicities that you see will change as well. So that comes with time. So the more in tune you are and not wiping it off as, oh, that's just a coincidence, see if it's happening a number of times. Also pay attention to what you're thinking at the time. It might be a song that comes up and you're thinking of your twin, and it might be a negative thing you're thinking about your twin, and they're trying to communicate to you through music, through words, maybe smell, senses. So the more you tune yourself, the more you'll be super aware. Hi, Leeming on my website. Okay, there you go. Dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. They're telling you something, and that's for divine feminine and masculine. Now, masculines, I do see you guys really working on, okay, and again, I'm picking ego. You're worried too much about financial aspects. Now, this could be that you're feeling that if you might need to, for some of you, you might be remote where you're thinking, oh, I've got to move closer towards my twin, I need finances. Please don't tap into that energy too much and think, oh God, how am I going to get there? Because I need A, B, C, D to get there. Think of getting there. Just say, I'm going, Yeah, I hope so. Oh, trust me, I'm human though. I'm quite flawed. So try and think of the other side of the situation, not, well, how am I going to get there? Because I do see money and ego being a direct block at the moment for masculine and feminine. Many of the masculines are blaming themselves connected to a previous event, and this is really blocking them from healthily feeling they can move forward and let it go, because they're trying to do all they can to fix given situations, whatever that is directly connected to them, because each person's journey is going to be different. Others of them are very worried about financial aspects because it's directly connected to being the man, being the masculine, and holding the fort, so to speak. So this directly is blocking them as well. But this is a trigger. So masculines, if you guys are kind of having a hard time on the money front, it's there for a reason, because love has nothing to do with money. That is very much connected to, and feminines have this energy as well, where we're very worried about it and we're trying to create this perfect bubble and we've got to have our shit together, so to speak. We're not perfect. We're not expected to be perfect. The connection is about a vibration, not money. Trust me, your twin really does not care about the money. They would far rather a text message, a phone call, and a mouth of, guess what, I'm butt broke. They don't care. It is not about that. Hi, Soup. They don't care about that. So this is very much related to ego, and you from an old paradigm of childhood believing it's your job to do that. It takes two to tango. As a team in a twin connection, you're going to get a hell of a lot more done if you actually work together. Now, a lot of masculines need to be very careful about the energy they're receiving from the feminine. Feminines also need to be super cautious about the communication style, because both of us have blocks directly connected. The masculines do feel at times judged, and the feminines, when we drop back into that, sort of do come to a place where we're trying to fix. Now, we're going to go over old ground. So at times we're going to go back to the old ways of doing things. And many feminines will move forward then want to retreat, and that's okay. Don't get too up in your head about it. It's natural to want to go forward and back. Let that happen. So look at it like you're riding a wave. It's going forward, it's going back, but take your time. Don't think it's got to happen overnight. Rome was not built in a day, you know. And I mean, I remember when I was purging, I literally was walking all the time and I felt like I'd walked the Great Wall of Bloody China. But I was purging, and that was my process. So be gentle on yourself, connected to it. Any questions while I'm tuning into further? I did promise the 11th, so I had to hold my end of the bargain. Any questions, people? Any blocks you've been experiencing that you need advice on? Yes, I do Skype. Jen, you can have a wave runner. I'll send you that jet ski. That's another thing. If you find that you're tuning too much into it, go and work out, for goodness sakes. Yes, and hermit ladies, it's time to come out. Start getting back to business. You don't need to be there anymore. That was one thing that I was actually going to do. Communication blocks. 9 times out of 10, if the communication has ceased, it's because we're not ready, okay? Sometimes we think we are, but there is direct timing with it. Okay, transitions out of a karmic situation. Best bet, don't tune into it. Is that for you physically being in a karmic situation? Or for them being in a karmic situation and you waiting? For you. Okay, karmic situations are like, Jen, how do I call it? It's like it feels safe on the 3D. Now, the more you trust in the process of who you are and you own that power connected to, I'm in love with my twin, and really fall into that reality set of knowing that nobody else is ever going to do, you need to completely trust in the connection. And the reason I'm saying that is the reason you don't jump out of a karmic situation is because you're petrified. You're looking at the 3D and the traditional values and thinking, oh, everyone's saying that my situation's perfect. You know, I should be very grateful. This is what they think I deserve. Is that what you feel you deserve? Is it enough vibrationally? Look, you can be in $1 million home and, you know, everyone thinks your partner's wonderful. If vibrationally speaking, you don't feel that soul connection, it's empty. But you can only tell when you are emotionally ready to do that leap. It's very frightening. I know, I've been there. But you don't have any guarantee. 9 times out of 10, the masculine will not force your hand when you've done a lot of work. They won't, because they don't want to hurt you. You don't want to hurt them when you've come to that correct kind of frequency. And they want you to take, part of your journey is actually about owning your power. So if you actually realize the challenge you're physically facing is an aspect of the feminine owning their power, and knowing that on the 3D, you do not need a man to provide for you. You do not need a man to tell you that you're worthy of love, that you're safe, that you have your shit together, that you do. And look, it's like falling pregnant and going, oh God, didn't know that was going to happen. And then suddenly you're thinking, God, how am I going to afford this? You just do. Things do fall into place. You are protected and guided from the universe. You feel guilty for becoming famous after 23 years of marriage. Okay. You will always know if it's your, look, you'll always know if it's your twin. And the reason I'm saying that is because many of us had been questioning that aspect. And that has probably for the last 3 months been a bit of a trigger for the twins, especially the second wave of twins, where you're going, oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe it isn't. But you keep going back to them. It's like you feel like a mouse on a wheel. You know, that's how you know. It's like, am I? Aren't I? That was a lot to read. Right at spot. It fades off into the distance and I'm like, crap, I haven't got to read it. The next message that comes back, I might get to read the bottom. Do not laugh at me, Jen and Antonella. This is not funny. Next question. As this table's bouncing around, I would have been outside, you know, having a smoke, doing that toxic thing, but my battery was flat, so I'm sitting here like a good reader. I'm sorry. Oh, God. Okay, on my website, I have Skype bookings. Okay, waiting for him to pull his finger out. Now, this has been happening a lot where we've been saying, it's them. Honestly, I'm telling you, I did this myself. There was something in me that was not ready. And it was, you know, and directly speaking, if you're thinking from that mindset, it blocks it. So you need to, in your mind, say, they're coming. They're coming. It's cool. And don't worry when they detach. You can balance that energy. Don't tap into it. Don't get to a point where you're going, oh, here we go again. Yeah, look, sometimes it's that we're not ready. And if we're wording it, well, are they ever going to get here? Well, you've actually delayed it. You've actually like, they're probably thinking that too. Are you ever going to get your shit together? Thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, there's always like whenever a trigger comes up, and that's why I said record what you're saying, because what you're going to find is when you say it and you actually hear yourself out loud, a lot of times that you know, vibrationally speaking, we are actually blaming our twin. But remember, we have work to do as well, and 9 times out of 10, the work they're doing on themselves that are triggers are direct triggers that we physically have in some shape or form. Next question. It's probably my daughter, actually. A lot of us are actually having a connection to karmics in some shape or form. That may be from an aspect of healing. Some of our twins that have karmic connections, our block can actually directly be if we're feeling bad for them. We have no control over that. We can hold our integrity and we can wish them love and light. Also know that they are actually learning something from them. You know, energetically speaking, the karmics I hold no hate to. Some of the karmics, yeah, but okay, yes, they can be, but not for the reasons you think. Look, there is a lot that have codependent habits, but that's the feminine as well. And it can be a block and a trigger connected to us. We can change that frequency and that vibration because the benchmark was here, and a lot of the feminines were coming to a place where they said that's all they deserved. And when they do the work, when you do the work, it rises. And if you're saying, yeah, but I have to give A, B, C, D, or my twin isn't going to love me, again, that is about you being the trophy and you doing the work, knowing, no, actually, that's not so. It isn't so. That's your mindset. You've co-created that. Look, someone spiritually who many of the twins are actually talking to, Jen, I'm finding that we may have a person, there's two energies coming through. There's one where it's karmic related, and that can be on the feminine or the masculine side. And that's unfinished business. That's spiritual business, I'm feeling. There can be a person you directly communicate with. That can be like a soul energy. That can be feminine or masculine. And they're spiritually helping you as well. Some of you may be experiencing negativity connected to an energy. You need to tune out of it because it's not yours to receive. And definitely you need to actually ground yourself connected to your twin when energetically they're having triggers connected to their karmic because you don't own it. Any other questions? Any other questions? Why is your twin reaching out for so long? Because you tuned out of them. Because you calmed down and you did your work. You were doing something. You were doing you. When you tune out and you are just doing you, it's not you've forgotten your twin. It's more you're getting on with life. Energetically, you've changed your frequency. So they're then ready to move forward. And it might be that they have the next challenge for you to go through. Oh, that was crap. As long as you're doing the work, you'll be fine. Next question. No, he doesn't want attention. Always follow your vibe. What's your gut telling you connected to your twin? If they're ready to communicate with you and they're communicating, there's no harm in communicating back. How you hold your energy and the work that you've done does deem how it will flow. If you protect yourself in a sense, not blocking your heart chakra, going with the flow with it, follow your gut. No. Soulmate connection when you're a twin is going to be extremely difficult. Many of you who might have a twin passed over, that's a different energy. That's a different situation altogether. And sort of the twin flame connection, I believe, would have been part of your soul path. And you would have been a much older spirit, but to actually be with a soulmate over your twin, no, I don't. And that's physically because for a while it will serve its purpose, but your mind will feel quite toxic connected to it and you will reconnect, be it when you're 80 or, when you're 30. I just physically don't feel it's humanly possible. I don't. Sorry. It's a different energy. It's therefore, it was your road. You chose it before getting here. I didn't toss any cards on the ground today. Did you miss that, Jen? Do you want me to throw them? I shall do some cards. Okay, let's see what we're getting. I do have a reading tonight at 8, so, and I am supposed to do some other things too, but I'm trying to give you guys my time. For those of you who are new, welcome. I should have said that at the beginning. How bloody rude of me. Thank you. Animal cards. Yes, I know Jen always asks for them. You're contaminating it, Jen. What are you doing? It's okay. They're good cards. Okay, what do we need to know? So we'll ask for the masculine to the left. Wow! See, Jen, you cursed me. We'll take these for the masculine. We should get Jen to give us a reading. And I have cleansed them, so I don't know why they're jumping at me for. Feminine. Okay, the masculine is actually, they're on their path. They're doing the work connected to it. Okay, they're seeing the light connected to what they're needing to do, or they're physically on a mission to do something and complete a cycle. So we need to be patient connected to that. They're not seeing the benefit in this situation, but they're doing it regardless. So it's a toxic situation they're directly dealing with. It might be tying up loose ends, financially trying to work on something, emotionally purging. While they're doing what they're doing right now, they're actually, it's not a peaceful thing. It can be an emotional thing, or it can be a lot of hard work they're dealing with and a lot of purging. So it doesn't mean to say that they're feeling crap every day, but whatever they're currently dealing with can be, it feels like a spiritual journey. Now, masculine energy, they do have a masculine on the other side actually watching over them. They do have the masculine energy. So this can be a grandparent, a male, it could be a father figure, but there is a male on the other side directly watching over the masculine energy. It's really strange because the feminine on their side has a grandmother figure. So this, it doesn't have to be a grandmother. It could be a female energy who has passed over. So it's like the guardian angels are protecting the masculine and feminine. This is super weird. Okay, to them, the masculine. And again, feminines, you can pick this energy up too. This will be relevant to both of you. So we're having conversations on there. Meditation is happening. It can be that the masculine is actually starting to have very weird dreams, and almost visions. And it can be that they're just doing their work, you know, during the day, and suddenly they might have a flash of the feminine in their head. Now, they've got a big picture in their mind's eye of what they're wanting to achieve. It does feel like they're meditating. I'm going to try and tune into that card a bit more. Also, they don't know why, vibrationally speaking, they keep coming back to the feminine. Yeah. So it's like you do know, but you don't, and you're like, oh God, where's the straw coming from? They do find the feminine alluring, yet very much the feminine's role is to actually own that and not need that. That was the challenge the masculine set for the feminine, that they need to actually own, love their self in a sense of knowing that they're worthy, that they always were, not to be like a little scared kitten and come to a place where you're using the masculine as a mother or father figure or a protector. It's, again, a vibration. It's not that they don't want to be. It's that energy frequency for you. They wanted you to hold your power. They saw the power within you, and they want you to very much own that power, you know, the way you are. It might be on the astral travel plane that you guys are communicating and connecting with each other. So you do hold similar dreams. You will find all the differences you held before. There are going to be synchronicities connected to how, you know, in tune you guys really are. Where before you may have found differences, you're going to find as you connect and communicate and deal with each other, you're going to start noticing some situations that are very similar. Now, those of you who aren't in communication, how this is going to be relevant, these are processes you're physically going through right now. This is what your masculine energy is going through. So it can be that they're dealing with a current, you know, an emotional task. They're not seeing the benefit of it. There is a guide watching over them. They do deeply feel connected to you, and they're processing that aspect. Hi. And they're having the 5D of the dreams connected to you, and realizing that they do actually want to build some dreams with you guys. How that's going to come about, they don't know. They're actually angry this hasn't happened a lot sooner, and that, you know, they weren't feeling that way before. It's like they're blaming themselves and being unfair to themselves. It is a process. And that is for the masculine and the feminine. It's not one-sided. It is a very painful journey. So peace out for all of yous. Okay, go with the flow, feminine. And I do have a lot of feminines I do read for privately. I have got masculines, and I'd love more. You're stuck, you know, you're really stuck at the minute. And it can be just in your head. Let it flow. I don't know. You just got to let it go. Stop getting up in your head. It's just, you're receiving the masculine's energy. So, you know, and that depends on where you guys are. Not all masculines are going to be feeling that. If you directly are in this vibe and it's triggered from here, it's because they're doing a lot of work. So that it might be they're really busy. It might be that they're emotionally panic connected to what they're dealing with. So they're feeling that energy. You're then receiving that energy. Now, calm is returning. It is returning, Jen. Go with the flow. Okay, there is pace. There is peace returning. So try and go with the flow with that. You're going to start focusing more on yourselves again and becoming more grounded. Yeah, well, I'm both, aren't I? And you have the feminine energy on the other side actually protecting you. So whoever that is, this could be your next of kin. This is for twin flames. Any zodiac sign. Okay, you're going to become more grounded, feminine. And you're not going to be so angry. Now I'm going to pull some chakra cards. It's affecting your creativity. You know, when you're in this vibration, it's actually affecting forward motion. Now, some of you have mentioned hermit mode. Now, before I came on, I did see hermit mode, and it was enough. And the reason I'm feeling that is because you're ready for the next stage of events. It might be that you wanted to be there in order to do the work, and many of us in 2017 were very much in hermit mode. Some of us might not have been working or doing different styles of work more in the spiritual realm and manifesting what we were having in the future. That's very natural as well. We're ready to move forward. But the hermit mode is knocking your actual creativity, your forward movement. And it is because you're emotional at the moment. Do be gentle towards yourself, connected to that, but also take your power back. And that's about doing the homework and realizing that you're perfect, that you don't need to be, you know, you are the goddess. You don't need to be a certain way. Your divine masculine was always attracted to you in any shape you were, in any age you were. So don't get up in your head connected to that. You guys chose each other. You are each other. Solar. This is going to be more balanced, but it's going to be triggered. Look, many of you, if you're worried about time and fertility, it's your base chakra. So do some work connected to that. I have got videos in a folder. Anything I feel that emotionally and spiritually can help you, I do place it in a folder. And it's, oh, what did I call it? I've forgotten what I called it. There's a folder though, okay? Jen, tell me what it is. Tools for Life, that's what it's called. The videos will be in there. So there'll be chakra videos. I did get some homework for myself the other day when I received a reading for myself, although I can read for myself. I just want a confirmation. And Dr. Wayne Dwyer, I think his name is, I'm going to place some videos in there, and that's about wish fulfillments and manifesting them and believing in that. You know, if we're blocked and we're thinking nothing's going to happen, well, no, nothing's going to happen. I'm sorry, it's not. And then you've got to change your frequency and it's going to start moving forward. Yes, as their walls come down, ours come down, but we also do need to feel vulnerable in order for the wall to come down, and that can be quite frightening. So as we're gentle with ourselves and knowing, and you know, don't ever not be vulnerable in front of your twin, but don't use it in a manipulation sense. You know, use that energy from a very real place. Look, my twin never released me. So from a physical point of view, it can, okay, so did they continue coming back to you after they made that statement? Waiting for your response. When they made the exactly. So, and this has been happening very often. Again, actions speak louder than words. So this would be a trigger that belonged to him, not you. On the 3D, it would be more something of an abuse nature had happened to him to make him feel less. And he was projecting, which is not correct. And you will find later on that will be kind of verbalized and communicated. But the reality is, a lot of us, when we're trying to put a tag on something and pressure, it causes triggers. And the triggers then can be harsh tongue words or harsh actions or retreat and the runner. So if you're actually not trying to cage a bird, the old saying, if you love it, set it free. If it comes back, it was truly yours. The reality is a lot of the masculines do come back. even though they're saying, I don't want a relationship, they keep coming back. You need to just go with the flow. I mean, what is the rush? Why is the tag needed? That will come. But that's as we actually feel safe to be loved, that, you know, they can actually come in safely. And it's for us as well. We're feeling that way as well. It's not like we want to jump into a hot coal pie, do we? So that they have hurt, we have hurt. At the time when you received that and that statement was made to you, know that was not what they were actually feeling. It was a harsh thing they said, and believe me, they will actually clarify that with you. But just own your energy, because nobody can tell you you're beautiful. You will know directly you are beautiful. You need to love yourself, and that will be a direct trigger from another time. So once you move past that, sticks and stones can hurt your bones, but names will never hurt you. Like, it won't hurt you, because you will own the truth, and you will know you are divinely beautiful and you are perfect the way you are. And if they want to be with you, then you've changed the benchmark of what's acceptable, and they need to earn that back. So, and that goes for both sides. So just own it and be like, well, if you want my time, then you need to show me this way. Do you know what I mean? Don't get panicked that if I don't give to the masculine, and that's for the feminine as well, either side, that they won't love me. That's not true. That's a block. Try not worry so much about who you're meeting. Everyone you meet is for a reason. And the direct timing for it, I do see you actually doing a bit of travel, and there's reasons why you're meant to be free at the moment if you're meeting karmics and you know, other people, and it not being ready. And it might be that vibrationally speaking, you're not quite ready to stop, that your soul needs to be free at the moment. And I do feel a bit of travel around you, like a travel bug. Yes. Okay. Well, that's very interesting, Susie, that you said that, because January has caused a lot of fear in many of us. That's okay. Now, the reason we're experiencing fear is because a lot of us are releasing, and when you're moving into something, especially in the twin flame connection, which is really amusing to me. I just find this really amusing. Okay, the thing that attracted me to my masculine the most was his attitude in life. And that was very much the fact that he was more playful than me. I was very strict, you know, and got to have the good job, got to have my shit together. Almost trying to be perfect. Yet my twin was more playful, more, and I can't really say immature, because his mindset is older than mine, you know, very, very old soul. But his maturity level, he uses playfulness, and he's very fun. So I was very serious, and he grounds me enough to actually make me playful and not so serious. So you'll find your twin will actually balance your energy. They're also going to trigger other things in you to make you try life in different ways. The fear that it's going to cause, though, is because the normal, I had to go back and read and get back to the point of what I was saying. I knew I was trying to say something. Don't laugh at me, Jen. Okay, now the fear directly connected to twin flame connection is because traditional relationships go a certain way. You meet the family, there's the white picket fence, you get married, you have kids, you know, the vibration might change, but you live together forever. Generally in a twin connection, that cycle is so far from that. And many twins may actually still continue being together and doing the work at the same time, depending on what their journey was supposed to be. It just means vibrationally speaking, the communication drops out, you know, the way they deal with each other would be different. So don't think that you're not a twin just because you're together. Like, you can be. Every person's story is different. Every age gap's going to be different. So the reason the fear is being triggered is because our memory and feeling connected to a past tense situation and what we feel relationships should be is a trigger. And we're being asked, Are you ready to move into something that you don't know what the story is going to be, that you can't anticipate what's going to happen? And the whole thing is, it's like a joyride. Oh, yeah, it's like a joyride. You don't know what's coming next. That's not bad. Many of us in 2017 were very much pushed to a point where we were asked to really, it was like things were coming at us all the time. So the way we dealt with it was it made us think on our feet. You're used to that now. You had last year's training, so you're ready for this now. So coming into January, we're purging that. We're like, are we ready? Yeah, we are. That's what we wanted. We wanted a joyride. Now we're on it. Now we need to learn to actually go with the flow and let go. So just enjoy that. Yeah, it was like 10. Oh, I don't know. It was like grenades, really. Tennis is a bit nicer. That's okay, Susie. Any other questions before I go? I don't even know what time it is, and I do have a reading later. Jen, coffee. Look, if I can't have my cigarette, I've got to have my caffeine. You don't understand. I do have two habits. Caffeine, twin flame too. Caffeine, smoking, and twin flame. So how is life, Jen? Are you grounded? Are you good? Welcome, Scarred Space. Oh, don't make me jealous. I do need to quit, but I do love them. I'm very happy, Jen. I'm glad you are. Is she getting paranoid? Jen getting paranoid because I'm asking you. It's okay, I'm not reading you right now, Jen. My friendships do that. They're like, why? What can you see? And it's like, I'm a human being as well. I can actually just have a coffee and a smoke with you. I'm not reading you all the time. I do not read people without permission. I don't, that's not my code. I physically will not read you if I will receive vibes, but I turn it off and I don't actually jump in. Hello, Poland. Welcome. How long can a twin flame last for? Infinity, I would feel. As I have mentioned maybe in the previous twin flame videos, my first memory, I asked my twin this the other day, and I don't know if it was Jen that asked me the other day if my twin was where we were twins. The conversation has actually come up recently. And many of you are feeling and thinking that your twin is not spiritual. The masculine is spiritual, but from a different mindset. And it's through working through adversity. They're very open. They definitely read people, and they've had to gauge situations to protect themselves because they've been untrusting or burnt previously. And the masculine can be a female, doesn't have to be, a male. So, hello, Aussie. Hey, Cape Town, welcome. Is it? Yeah, you're stuck for life and in the next lifetime. I mean, I did say to my twin, I asked my twin the other day, what is your first memory? And they did tell me their first memory, and I mentioned mine, and they did not, in a sense, look at me like, okay, then. Mind you, they should have been, because my first memory was before birth, and that was definitely choosing my path and how large it was, and the energy that was next to me, I will state it in those terms. My girlfriend just messaged me. I was reading that too. Very much the energy of what I picked and the energy that was next to me asking me, am I sure? It was like I was looking at it going, I have to. And it was pretty crappy, whatever I picked. And I did joke with my twin the other day that we must have been jerks in a previous life because we've had a crappy road. Any other questions? I'm not perfect. I mean, I have been a jerk in this lifetime, I will say. It doesn't matter. Like, a lot of us do get too much up in our heads. Oh, are they spiritual like us? Spirituality isn't in a compass. It's a knowing, and it's, you know, dealing with, it's many things. It's not one given singular thing. The more work they do in their life and deal with adversity and keep moving, that is their spiritual compass. So it's the yin and yang. There's nothing wrong with being different. Love to England too. I have family over there. Big shout out to my cousins if they watch this. They have been great supporters. Big shout out to my mum and my dad. Both have been unwell and they're very brave and they're working hard. Next question. Are they still communicating with you after they've said they don't love you? Give it time. Don't panic. Do work. Ground yourself. Don't make any contact. Sometimes they need to remove themselves and they think they know. It can be because you have got in further than anyone else has, and it's caused a trigger for them. It's caused them to panic and retreat. You need to let them retreat. You need to have faith in your connection and focus on yourself. The more you focus on yourself and know your worth, the more you can bring the energy and turn it around again. Don't get panicked about it. This can also be a trigger from your childhood as well, where you had a sense of abandonment. Don't stress about the karmic energy either. Don't even tap into it because you give energy to it. There is a lot at the moment at a karmic level. I'm going to shout. I'm going to have to tell my daughter to go around to block ears. You'll have to go around the back. Oh, yeah. Okay, so from an energetic way of being, don't tap into the karmic. Don't worry about the family members. Let your twin deal with those energies, because as you focus on your life and your energies around you and where situations are controlling you, and that can be your physical self, if you do the work connected to that, you can shift the energy, but don't panic about it. It won't be permanent. Again, married is karmic, so let it be. Send them love and light. Have complete faith in the situation. Do the work you need to do and know they will be coming back, because they do. I hope my daughter's not swearing. Don't blame me. I have a teenager. I am on a live session. I will unlock it. I got it all going on today.
I'm joking.
You're live?
Can you let me yeah, I know. That's cool.
You can't say I'm not real anyway. Any other questions before I have a cigarette and... Nothing? I'm human, and own more of the realness with you guys as well. Like, don't try and be anything you're not, because you don't have to be perfect, and hey, life is not perfect. Hello. Jump in the pool? What, do you want my phone to get wet, Jen? Sunday's so cute. Is my twin an ultimate match? Hell no. Oh, well, probably now, energetically where we are, that's because we've done a lot of work. Anything special about 11/11? Where would I start? Trying to get my smoke started now. Okay, 11/11. It can be that you're on the correct path. So when you see 11/11, it is confirming, in fact, that you're on the correct path. And it can be sometimes when you're actually thinking, Police cars as well are Archangel Michael, and I've actually seen a lot around today. Fire brigades, officials, they're a direct sign, especially when you are thinking about your twin, that you are reaching that connection and confirming you're on the right road. 1111 is a soul number, and it is connected to twin flames as well, and your higher self and your spiritual self. 444 is going to be relevant for February, and definitely left, right, and things coming out of left field. Jen must be very used to my daughter by now. She's always crashing her sessions. Any other questions? Please do not interrupt. Okay, yeah, that's pretty common too. Twins on license plates is pretty common. It's giving you a confirmation that it is nearing.
I'm back.
Again, any numerology numbers? Thank you.
Hey, baby girl.
She. I just hung up my daughter's phone. I'm so rude. I'm doing a live session. Can you please go so I can chew? Goodbye.
Can I have food?
What the? Do you want to do my job?
Yes.
Can you go, please?
Can
Go on,
I?
eat. Nachos are inside. 1. See, even I have to be a parent. Seriously.
Can I get a honey?
How did me and my twin flame first meet? He'll probably kill me if I tell you. You don't want to know. It's more complicated than you think.
Oh yeah, so complicated.
Goodbye. My daughter's giving me shit about it now. Okay, basically, my twin and I can't go into the full story, obviously, for their privacy. But when we did meet, we were friends, and he pissed me off. He irritated me. He caused every trigger in me, and I did mention this the other day, because he was narcissistic. But then I was uptight and snobby and too... I don't know, like I was trying to be perfect. I wasn't perfect. So we both were the yin and yang of each other. So initially, how they say, on YouTube, it ignites right away. No, it doesn't. Please do not interrupt, or you can be grounded. No, not cool. Goodbye. I'm a good mother. I'm a terrible mother. I'm not a terrible mother. I'm a trainee mother. I do believe that we're always trainee mothers because until our kids are older, it's like we're always working at it. It's always changing. But definitely when I did meet my twin, we were simply friends. But then I did realise that they were very protective of me and they were trying to help me step into my power, and that's sort of how it came about. Any other questions? Don't stress with them being in another country. It makes no difference. I was in another location which was miles away, and at the correct time everything will fall into place. Because the 3D of what you're seeing, you've got to get out of that mindset of, or where are they, because that's a block. That's a mental block connected to why you're thinking it can't be. So don't tune into that. Just tune into the vibration and the heart chakra, and everything flows. No, we don't have chili con carne. My daughters are junk guts. Any other questions? I can't believe I've got 79 watching. Gee, we're growing. Please do share, because hopefully this can help other twins as well. Soul Path 11. Again, don't worry too much about the soul path. You'll go from... Things will change. Don't stress. Again, that's 3D. Criminal record or no criminal record, things will change. They may come to you. Don't get too blocked by it. Don't worry about it because you're giving it energy. Yeah, a lot of us may have been feeling off this week. I have been like a yo-yo. Like, I've been like, you know what, whatever. I know who I am. I'm getting back to my core. I'm focusing on the business. I'm focusing on future. I'm okay. And then I'm like, oh my God, crying. And Yeah, it all belongs to us. That's our compass. Do the work inside. Note, ground yourself. Pull it back down. If you're getting up in your head and you're going, oh my God, you got to breathe and pull it down. Maybe that isn't the right time. So just, ground yourself. Yeah. Again, for twins, what you'll find, you'll have times. Sorry, I got a puff. You'll have times you'll be watching a video. You will know right away if it's going to connect with you. If energetically it's bad information, tune out because you're not meant to receive that message, and it's ego related. So if it's saying something really bad and it's a horoscope, do not tune it. Turn it off. Go do something else productive. Go have a shower and cleanse, because what you're doing is you're feeding your ego. You're feeding your fears. They are fears. It's that, you got the nice birdie on the shoulder that's talking to you, then you got the jerk that talks to you. Don't feed it because it's manifesting negative energy. Tap out of it. Go do something more productive. Get yourself grounded. I know I do have a lot of clients that come to me for readings. There are times in emergency situations they need me to help them get grounded again. And a lot of times we can have a laugh and laugh at the road because you have to do that to stay sane. It is very challenging. So if you're needing that and you need an emergency reading, connect on with me and I'll do my best. Yeah. Look, it doesn't matter the time frame of when you met them and how it's going to be. It will come about. You've just got to focus on that. Some twins do meet later on in life. They were meant to energetically live a colourful life before actually finding their twin soul. My road's been 15 years, maybe longer. Most welcome. Butterflies in the tummy can be that something is an airing. I do know energetically for me, when I'm moving and shifting, I tend to throw a lot of things out, and I'm definitely doing a lot of purging and packing, but I'm finding at the moment, energetically speaking, I'm sort of doing a bit of both. So I think the twins are sort of like at a left-right scenario. I'm stylish. What, smoking a cigarette? That's very rude of me. I'm human though. This is who I am. Look, there will be twins that are like 3-4 years apart. There will be other twins which will be 20-30 years apart. Don't get too cooped up in it. Thank you, Jen. I try to be helpful. I try to give my time because I know it's hard. I have, there were times really you will find that you can't speak to anyone. Definitely, I'm hoping we can form a community on here so that through that process, no, it might not happen overnight, but we will have each other to kind of keep us sane. And we can tell the good, the bad, and the ugly without judgment here. And definitely anyone who is a bit of a troll during the lives, just ignore them and I'll block them after. I try not to tap into their energy. It's really worthless. I mean, the more we kind of block that kind of scenario and not worry about it, don't stress too much about it. But definitely if you're needing products sort of to help ground you, and they're not really products, they're more aromatherapy oils, your smudge sticks and things like that. If you're around someone in your life who's toxic, come home and cleanse, be it your smudge stick, have your go-to regime, exercise, drink your tea, have a shower, have a bath, try and switch that channel. If you need to cry, have your cry, do your purging, but don't stay in that energy because it's not productive for self. You need to then actually have like an action plan so that you can take your mind off it. So maybe don't listen to a twin flame video when you're energetically not up to it, but only take what directly relates. If you're listening to a zodiac sign, especially twins, it's a singular energy. It doesn't mean their energy is remaining the same. While purging, while working, we're all forever changing. So if it's saying there's a third party, and again, this card is really being shown to me quite a bit, and I know in my given situation, it isn't directly connected to a third party. Karmic in a sense, yes, but not you know, the way the card discusses. A lot of the cards don't actually discuss the factors connected to, you know, children and split families and scenarios like that, and letting go of an old energy. It doesn't have to be a cheating card. It can be an aspect of purging that you're actually physically going through. So don't get too cooped up in the videos of what they're saying. You know, you definitely want to be going to a psychic, or find your readers that you trust, so that you're not feeding the ego connected to what's going on, because it's not productive. Any other questions? I swear I've talked so much, half my cigarette is burnt. They do change daily, and that's because we're evolving daily. And then you'll have days where you're like, I don't feel anything. And that's not a bad thing, because it's sort of like the calm before the storm. If a twin needs to go, let them go. Don't panic. It can change, but it's loving to free them, to let them go and live in the world, to let them go and do what they need to do, because they're going to come back. Hello, ZZ, Dr. Game ZZ. Nice car. I'm trying to read. Yeah, we'll go with your gut as well. Always follow your gut. 9 times out of 10, you will know your twin, or you might have met them and not really had that ignition yet that you know them. But you kind of might, you'll know when you do. You will know, trust me. Most welcome. Look, most of the way life has gone at the moment, a lot of these will be live. I was very optimistic that I would get February's done ahead of time. I'm probably going to get February's done live as well. But I will still continue doing live sessions for questions and answers. Yes, it is a bad habit, but I'm human and I'm okay with that. It's an aspect of a codependency, which I'm working on. Most welcome. There was a question that I was asked the other day, and it was to do with codependency. Now, when I speak of codependency, and also the devil card that comes up in the readings, don't panic, because it's a good and a bad card, depending on how it's directly connected. It can also be the deep passion directly connected to the twin flame union, and I do very much connect the dots connected to that card and the twin flame, because it's sort of good and bad, if you know what I mean. You do go through, you know, the good and bad aspects of the connection. Also, when it comes to the, you know, what's the other card? The soulmate card, directly connected to twins as well. The shadow twin. That usually comes about when you're not ready for your twin, and that's because you're in training for the twin, because you need to spiritually experience it, but then some aspect will fail in the situation, where you then come to this humble kind of sense that there's no perfect, and then it's more the vibration of the soul connection you fall into, which you're accepting of. And usually when you're in a karmic situation and you're not ready to jump, it's because you're blocked, connected to that, and you're not having faith in the union and the connection. But usually you will morph a block. Any blocks that you're experiencing, they're coming from you. They're coming from an aspect of a trigger directly connected to you. One last question, and then I shall go, because I do have another reading to do and private booking. And I hope this has helped. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you any new subscribers. Welcome. And please do look after yourselves. And if you're blocked and you're stuck, you know, feel free to comment. If I've got time, I will comment. I definitely read all the comments. And I do appreciate the referrals that many of you guys have been giving me. I appreciate it, especially for the Australian clients. It's been really great. I've been getting a lot more Australian clients as well. And I feel very blessed to have you guys all over the world. You're like a little family. Well, big family, really. We are growing, aren't we? Last question. Most welcome. Most welcome. I'm glad you liked your reading. I'm glad. Okay, when a parent is lost during a connection, you will find at some point when you reconnect, either them or you will also have a synchronicity connected to that. And it's the connection, it's you like mirror each other. So you will find the reconnection will come about maybe during that cycle. I know that my twin had gone through similar experiences. It doesn't have to be the biological parents either. It can be like a family member or a loss in some sense where it binds your souls together closer. Love and light, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.